come to Las Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world. The 24/7 non-stop party town where virtually anything goes. Last year, 40 million visitors spent a staggering $15 billion here. But when the recession hit this city in 2008, it went from having the lowest unemployment to the highest in the US.
There's just a lot going on out here in these streets. He did what he had to do. He carried a weapon on him at all times.
There were more foreclosures, more bankruptcies, more suicides than anywhere else in the United States of America.
You're here by trespass.
Great, I don't
You
want
need to
be here.
leave immediately.
So what is this?
Got Tent City.
So these are people living in tents.
Why y'all video camera? Come here.
I've come here to find out the truth behind the neon. Las Vegas, Nevada. More people travel to this 4-mile strip each year than visit the United Kingdom, who spend on average $40 million every night. I've come to meet VIP host to the High Rollers, Steve Sear.
I tell my customers, don't go to divorce court without a good attorney. If you're a big player, you need somebody like Steve Sear to represent you and get you the best deal.
So ultimately, you're a broker or an agent for High Rollers?
I'd like to say I'm the chief harpoonist.
You are you?
Yeah, so you have minnows, you know, you have people that bring $1,000 to Las Vegas and they want to have fun. And then you have, you know, fish that bring 5,000 or 10,000. And then you have sharks that bring 25 to 50,000. And then you have the whales that I try to deal with that bring 100,000 to 1 million every weekend. My biggest player, his average, every roll of the dice, 180,000. 180,000 every roll of the dice. It's a beautiful
How many
thing.
times did he roll that dice?
Oh, last trip he played about 7 hours. I was even freaking out. You get a little jaded, but it was exciting. He was up 3 million. He got greedy, tried to win 4, and he lost it all. So, you know, shit happens.
Are the odds always in favor of the house?
We have an advantage on every game that you play. You know, for every 10 players I have, 3 or 4 win, 6 or 7 lose.
Is part of what you do to look after them, to protect them, to police them?
Absolutely. If a guy's playing really stupid, you know, he's splitting tens or something, I'm like, please, let's go up and have a little blackjack lesson. You're at a disadvantage, but at least play correctly. If I take a couple grand out and I'm up a couple grand, I'm done. I'm very disciplined. They want that rush. I'm winning, I'm a winner. Ah. See, in Hollywood, the star is the king. In Vegas, I'd rather the construction worker with 5 or 10 grand, and he gets treated like a star.
We're in a global recession. You know, Vegas has been hit by it. We know that.
My rich guys are still really rich.
The rich ones stay rich, yeah? No matter what. And they'll still gamble.
Yeah. A third of my customers are so wealthy it's not going to matter. A third should not be here. And the other third are young, and as their age and wealth increase, gambling increases in them. It's part of our culture now.
So what happens when it goes wrong?
There's a dark side to the business. In my book, 4 of the whales, 1 was murdered, 3 suicide.
Most people will leave Vegas a little lighter in the pocket, but happier for the experience. Some will lose more than they should on the turn of a card. And for a few, well, they will lose it all and end up on the streets. I'm on my way to meet a local journalist called Matt O'Brien. For the last 10 years, he's written extensively about the underbelly of this city. Matt is the former editor of the Las Vegas journal, City Life. He's had 2 books published on the homeless of Las Vegas.
People have come out here for the past 20, 30 years for the American dream. And there are those kind of stories, but what's not often told are the stories of the people that come out here for this dream, become addicted to alcohol, gambling, and drugs, and end up living beneath the very hotel casinos that drew them out here in the first place.
How'd you been living below?
Well, there's underground flood channels. There's a network of flood channels that are built to protect the properties above ground here. They're homes for the people who haven't quite found the American dream out here.
In the last decade, the number of people living on the streets has doubled to over 12,000. Many have chosen, despite the dangers, to live a subterranean existence.
So how far do these flood channels stretch?
There are about 550 miles of flood channels
How
in the
far?
valley. 550 miles, but 300 miles of those 550 are underground flood channels.
And people live under this?
Yeah.
Or in them?
Hundreds of people.
It's hard to believe there are actually people living right under the strip.
Well, yeah, you can start to see remnants
yeah,
right when you
clearly.
get in.
So ultimately, these tunnels were built to make sure that the strip doesn't flood, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, nothing really changes in this town unless it affects the casinos, and there were some big floods in the 70s and 80s, so they were forced to build these underground flood channels to protect those properties.
And there are communities living down here, yeah?
Yeah, in fact, we're coming up on a camp here. My friend John, he may be asleep.
A few hundred meters down the tunnel, we meet 34-year-old Travis.
Travis? I'm Ross Kemp. Nice to meet you. How are you? Travis.
Originally a restaurant manager from South Carolina, he came to Las Vegas for a long weekend.
And how long have you been living down in the tunnels?
11 years off and on.
11 years. So you came here when you were in your 20s, yeah?
Yeah, I was 22.
What brought you to Vegas?
Me and my cousin came on vacation
How long were you planning on staying?
just for a weekend, a 4-day weekend.
And how much money did you bring with you?
We came with $3,000 each.
So what happened that weekend?
Went out, started gambling, drank a little, did a little drugs. After I lost all my money, we ended up cashing payroll checks. It was a fake check.
Well, they spotted they were forgeries, right?
Yeah, we never made it from the cashier's cage.
So how long were you in jail for?
2 months. After the 2 months in jail, we got put on probation for a year. We finished our probation and stuff, so we were still homeless and stuff. Nobody was hiring and stuff, especially with, not having ID, not having a place to stay, no address, nowhere to take showers and stuff and everything.
Yeah. Typical to get a job, right? So how do you make a living?
Sometimes I'll panhandle, go up and sit on the bridges and stuff and hold a sign out. Sometimes I'll collect cans. Sometimes I'll walk through the casinos, and get little bitty credits or whatever, that people leave behind on the machines.
So do you still gamble?
Yes.
You know that the odds are stacked against you, but you'll still take your chance of beating the machine.
If a man made it, then a man can beat it. He's just got to, figure out the combination. And sometimes you get lucky.
Would you say you're addicted to gambling?
Yeah. I've moved out of Las Vegas twice, but I keep coming back.
Most people will come here for 3 days, but you're here, still here. And
A
you're
couple of the less fortunate ones will end up like me.
You can see everywhere you go, there are spots where people have lived, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, over the years, you've literally had probably 400 or 500 people who have come and gone from this one tunnel that's been around since 1995. This is like the remnants of someone's home. You can see how far we're beneath the strip, about 25 feet.
So the Las Vegas Strip is above us there.
Yep.
That obviously was used
It's a pretty good weapon.
when you hit someone with that,
Yeah.
you're gonna hurt them, right?
The people down here all have like a weapon that they say they use for self-defense.
Ricky Lee has been living in the tunnels for 15 years.
Hi, how are you? It's Light here.
All right.
Nice to meet you, Ricky.
Nice to meet you.
Ross.
During his time here, he's learned to cope with the dangers of living in a flood channel.
If you don't stay on top of the weather and stuff like that, you get washed out. I got washed out once. You won't see the light, but you see a wall of water coming.
But you'll still prefer living down here than living above?
I like it here because you get be anything that you want to be, a drug addict, a thief, or a worker.
How dangerous is it living down here?
You get caught slipping here, they'll get you for everything you have.
And you carry something to protect yourself?
I used to have a sword before it was taken away, but yeah, I have knives and stuff stashed away.
And did the police ever come down here?
Well, there's an unwritten law. As long as we're not seen, we're good.
Really?
As long as they can't see us, we're good.
And do you gamble yourself?
Yeah, it's another habit I picked up while I was here.
Really? What are the chances of you getting a proper job?
Slim to none. I got a big prison record, so.
Can you tell us what you went to prison for?
Stabbing a guy because he owed me money.
Right.
I meant to kill him, but he survived and he told on me.
Are you planning on going back?
Actually, it's been crossing my mind lately because another guy owes me money. I do everything short of actually robbing or hurting people. I try not to do that, but sometimes you have to do that. Yeah. You know, it takes a monster to kill a monster.
I am not well. There's so few of them here, aren't there? So few opportunities for people to get off stuff.
There's really only one group that does outreach. 2-3 years ago, there were opportunities to get out. That's not the case anymore.
Because of the recession, these outreach groups have got less money.
Yeah, their budgets have been cut, you know, the legislature, and it's just, their caseloads, as I understand it, are pretty full. They're just not taking a lot of people on right now.
Because you just don't have the money.
Yeah.
There is a labyrinth of tunnels beneath the city. Matt takes me to meet Jazz and Sharon, a couple who have made a home for themselves beneath the strip.
Jazz and Sharon, how long have you two been down here then?
Been together down here, same thing.
Yeah, we've been together 5 years.
Do you guys ever have kids or anything? Or?
I have kids, yeah, but I had 2 girls with my husband, and then I had 2 boys with my boyfriend at that time. And, you know, they have kids now, and so I can play with the grandkids and everything.
Do you ever see them?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do see them?
Yeah.
And what do they think about you living down here? Are they dismissive or are they understanding?
One, my oldest daughter is like, she doesn't want to hear anything about it. She's just like that. My younger daughter, she totally accepts everything, and she's cool with it. You know, she'll come and pick me up, we'll go shopping or whatever, and act normal.
Yeah. That's cool, isn't it?
Yeah. And my grandkids know that I live down here. Yeah. They know not to say anything to anyone. But, you know, Grandma, are you going back to the tunnel?
Do you have an addiction problem?
Yeah, I think I do, yeah. I drink and I fuck with the methamphetamine, man, you know.
Do you take drugs as well?
Yeah. I don't drink or anything, but, you know.
Do you gamble as well?
Yes, I do, yeah. Sometimes that's how we make our money, is gambling, you know?
Yeah, sure.
So, but we lose most of it, you know? And with the drug addiction and everything you gotta do, also life, food, and this and that, it's tough.
It's full time. It's 24 hours. It's a 24/7 operation.
Yeah, but this is a 24/7-hour town too. Look at this town. This town's amazing. Vegas is crazy. I'm telling you, you'll never find a town like this in the world.
Vegas brought these people to the city, and it's Vegas that's keeping them here. Many homeless rely on the strip in order to earn money to sustain their habits, either through begging, handing out flyers like Ricky Lee, or credit hustling like Jazz. He picks up cash left in machines by unknowing tourists.
Jazz, hey, what's up? How'd you get on?
Maybe 20 bucks in there, man.
20 bucks?
$20, bro.
Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you, bro.
So what will you do with that?
Probably get something to eat, take some food back to Sharon, and maybe we'll go out and gamble.
You go out and gamble maybe some of it later,
yeah? Maybe make a little more money, see what's going on, you know?
So, just tell me how you know there's credit in a machine. If someone walks away from it, how do you know that they've left money in it?
Some of the machines got the way that the lights blink. I know what to look for. Certain lights. Some of them you got to walk right up on top of them.
What's the biggest amount of money you've made in a day?
Yeah, man, it could be anywhere from a couple hundred to over 1,000.
You made over 1,000 in a day?
Yeah. I mean, I found a $1,000 chip on the ground, and you'd be amazed at how many people walk away from hundreds of dollars on a machine, and it don't come back to pick it up.
But you say even Sharon does what you do.
Yeah, they got grandmas out here doing it, man. It's crazy. And they'll beat you to the punch for a penny, you know.
They'll beat you to the punch for a penny.
Yeah, you cannot tell who's doing what, you know.
Jazz has just made 20 bucks. He's probably going to make some more on his way back to his subterranean existence with Sharon, and they're going to eat some food, but then they're going to come out and gamble. You know, the draw of this place, whether you're a high roller or whether, you know, you're living on the streets, is incredible. And, you know, once you get the bug, it's a very hard one to shake off.
During the 1990s, Las Vegas became a mega resort. Thousands of workers traveled from all over the US to construct hotels and work in the casinos. In just under a decade, the city's population almost doubled as Las Vegas became America's fastest growing city. But in 2008, the recession changed everything.
It overnight virtually became the foreclosure capital, the suicide capital, the bankruptcy capital of the United States of America.
Well, when the recession hit in mid-2008, a lot of people had bought homes for like $300,000. 2-3 years later, those homes were worth half or a third of that amount. So a lot of people just lost their homes to foreclosure.
So that was 2008-ish. We're now 5 years on. Has the Strip recovered?
The Strip has bounced back somewhat. Visitor volume is back to 35 million, 40 million a year, but the problem is people aren't spending as much money as they did before.
But it still made $15 billion last year.
Well, the Strip did, yeah, and that's money that's made by the corporations that own the casinos, but a lot of that money doesn't stay here in Vegas. It goes back to the corporate headquarters, you know? So we've suffered the most, and we're still suffering from the recession.
At the height of the financial crash, 300 people a day were losing their homes in the state of Nevada. Even today, this state has the highest rate of repossessions in the whole of the country. Those evictions are carried out by the constable's office, and I'm on my way there now to meet one of its officers.
Pat Geary, a former cop, has been working for the constable's office for 7 years.
You've made more foreclosures and carried out more evictions than any other officer. Why is that?
I have a lot of middle-class homes in my area.
Right, yeah.
And I think the economy has affected the middle-class people more than the upper class.
How many people will you have to evict, or how many properties will you foreclose on today?
15 to 20. So basically, this is like tape and go, tape and go. We just have to post it in a conspicuous spot so the tenant can't go to the judge and say, well, I didn't get notification. The process is about 2 to 3 weeks. So this is the finalization of the entire process. This is just their notification that, hey, it's happening tomorrow. You might want to get your stuff and go.
Once the 24-hour period is up, it's time to evict the tenants and change the locks.
Hey, kiddo, this is Geary with the constable's office. 535, are we doing that lockout?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on my way. Send your guy over there.
Okay.
Thanks, bye. You got everything, sir? All right.
Don't bring the fucking camera in my fucking house, because I swear to God, you'll see.
Hey, if you didn't want a camera, you should have left yesterday. Now get your stuff and go.
I had to leave.
You knew I was coming.
I had the same dog last time.
He came up to you and he went like that to your face.
Yeah,
like that.
because they don't like me, because all the time we're trying to curb it.
That's my job, is to protect him from getting beat up, from stuff like this. Okay?
Oh, give me a break. Fuck off, dude. Really? I've been waiting for you guys.
Really?
I have another place. I was just literally...
As a duly appointed representative, the owner of this property, you're hereby trespassed.
Great, I don't
You
want to
need to leave immediately.
I need to get the rest of my stuff.
Okay, how about doing that?
How many people do you think you've evicted in the time you've been doing this?
Thousands. Thousands. Constable's office, at its peak, we were doing 20 evictions a day. I have to. They'll take it off. Every day.
Excuse me, I was not
I don't even know what's going on. Let me
There you go, bro. Thank you very much. Let's go.
All right, that's the ninth place that Pat has closed up today. And so far, in the last 6 months, they've evicted or repossessed the properties of some 10,000 people in this city alone.
The gap between the city's haves and have-nots continues to widen. Last year, tourist numbers and casino profits reached a record high. Caesar's Palace spent $400 million and the MGM Grand $160 million on refurbishments. But the number of people living below the poverty line has doubled. And less than a mile from downtown is one of the most deprived suburbs in the city.
I'm on my way to meet the next gangbanger who's going to show me a side of Las Vegas that most tourists never get to see.
36-year-old Big E was born and raised in West Las Vegas.
So, how tough a neighborhood is this?
Oh man, this is one of the most gruesome places to grow up because this area is notorious for gang activity, drug activity, even to this day.
Would you say that this side of Vegas has been hit worse by the recession?
Yes, it's took a terrible blow.
There's not a lot of people about it. It's like it's dead, man.
It's dead. It's dead. There's nothing but death here.
I mean, there's a playground to my right.
Closed it down. Kids don't have a place to play now.
God. And what is this?
Got Tent City, one of the tent cities.
So these are people living in tents?
Yeah. And this is a couple minutes from the Strip.
And so it's parallel. So from West Side, you can see all that.
Right.
And you can see the poverty that exists here, yeah?
Right.
In the past few years, financial support for the homeless has been cut by 2/3. The state of Nevada has the lowest tax rate in the whole of the United States. This is great for the casinos and the corporations that own them, but the lack of tax revenue means that very little filters down to the people who really need it.
This is one of the richest cities in the world. Seems like, you know, the casinos have sucked all the life's blood out of the community and never put anything back.
What do you think? Do you think that they have an obligation then to help this environment?
Yes.
Help this place?
Yes. Because they have people who work here, they have people who gamble. You can't take and never put anything back into something.
This is always a problem.
It's gonna bleed it dry. This is Las Vegas that no one ever gets to see.
If someone from the Strip was to venture over here, then what would they be coming over here for?
Drugs.
Drugs, that's it, yeah?
That's it. What else is there to come over here for?
And what kind of drugs are we talking? Everything? Heroin, crack?
Everything. You can get any drug here on the West Side.
What's so surprising is just how invisible the West Side is, considering its proximity to the Strip. This area has always been synonymous with drugs, and the city has a chronic methamphetamine problem. However, heroin is fast replacing meth on the streets, and local authority seizures have jumped tenfold.
You're going into your side there, yeah? Because your arms are gone, yeah?
I'm not getting high. I'm getting well.
Each weekend, up to 500,000 visitors try to make their fortune on the Strip. While just meters away, heroin addicts Tony and Thomas try to raise $20 for a hit.
Tony, what's going on? I'm gonna introduce you to Ross.
How you doing? Ross from the UK.
This is Thomas.
Thomas, how are you? Boys, you've been panhandling, yeah?
Yeah.
Why are you panhandling?
We got habits.
We got a drug habit.
You got drug habit, yeah?
Yeah.
Can you tell me what kind?
They call it black tar heroin.
Black tar heroin, yeah?
Yeah.
And do you inject it?
Yeah.
We try, you know. We've been doing it so long, we ain't got veins no more.
So how many times will you shoot in a day?
Means we can, but
Probably an average about four.
Four? I mean, you've lived here for a long time, Tony, right?
Yeah.
mean, you actually worked in the casinos.
Yeah, I dealt blackjack for like 13 years in Binion's Horseshoe.
Well, how did you come to be here?
Yeah, I mean, it was a series of things. I was married at the time.
Yeah.
2 kids, and my wife got sick.
Yeah.
You know, she got lung cancer and all. And
I'm sorry.
Eventually passed away, and everything went downhill.
I mean, did you ever gamble?
Yeah, I gambled a lot.
He gambled.
Really?
Yeah.
So you not only you gotta find you gotta panhandle your money for your dope, then the gambling. What's first?
Oh, I mean, the way it is now, we don't get the dope, we get sick.
Yeah, so it's
So
gotta
we
be a
gotta, yeah, we gotta. That's the first thing.
The duo have panhandled or begged enough money for some heroin.
So this is your Mexican tar, yeah?
Yeah. Drug you love to hate right here.
You're just smashing that up with a can, mixing it up.
I don't cook it no more. I want to take a chance of burning some up, wasting it.
So you just mix it with mix it with bottled water, yeah?
Any kind of water. I've used 7-Up before. I've used, orange juice. Water is the best of them. You know? Not shooting up sugar or, whatever they put in that fucking shit.
Well, you're just making sure that you'll split it equally.
Yeah, partnered all the way.
Yeah.
With everything. Food, clothes, money, fucking health, every fucking thing. You got to. Everything's got to be 50-50. I'm beyond that, looking for a vein right now. You know what I mean?
Really?
I just muscle now. I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
But it's keeping the sickness away from you, yeah?
Got to. That's all it is now. I'm not getting high. I'm getting well.
The casinos clearly know that vagrants and drug addicts are bad for business. The corporations not only own the casinos, but the pavements outside them. Police and security are continuously seen moving them on. Drugs and homelessness are not the only problems this city faces. The illegal sex industry in Nevada is worth billions of dollars a year.
Las Vegas has always been synonymous with sex. And a lot of people come here from around the world wanting to pay for sex. In fact, the demand is on the increase. I'm about to meet a vice cop, Chris Boffman, who's been putting pimps away on the strip for years.
Chris heads up the human trafficking task force in Las Vegas.
I mean, Chris, everywhere you look, sex is for sale. Look right in front of me now, but everywhere. How can they do that in a place where prostitution is supposedly illegal?
Because the catch is that they're not selling prostitution, right? It is legal to run an escort company.
They're not advertising somebody to go and have dinner with, are they?
No, they're not. To tell you the truth, some of these escort companies are run by pimps. I always tell people, well, what do you think is the worst criminal? And some people will say it's the rapist, right? Some people will say it's the pedophile. Some people will say it's the murderer.
Yeah.
Some people will say it's the extortionist, the kidnapper. But in order to do this job, in order to be a pimp and to be successful at it, you have to do all of those things every day.
The time that you've been working in Vice, do you have any idea how many pimps you've put away?
Personally, probably close to somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 or so, which is a lot when you consider the types of investigations they are. It's not just you see a guy hanging out on the street with a girl and you pick him up and throw him in jail. We're talking about convictions where guys have, Lamborghinis, Porsches, ridiculous amounts of money, huge homes.
So how much money can a successful pimp make here on the strip?
A guy that has, let's say, 3 girls about $1 million a year. That's why this culture is booming, and that's why these individuals are so violent and so possessive of the women that they're trafficking, is because they have so much to gain and so much to lose if the girls should come to the police or try to run away.
Just how violent do these pimps get with these girls?
I mean, I've seen everything from, women sexually assaulted, group raped, burned with irons, tattoos burned off them with irons.
Tattoos burnt off them with irons?
Sure. Brutal. I've seen waterboarding, obviously.
Sorry, Chris, you say waterboarding?
Yeah, waterboarding. Guys have actually held down women. Would actually use the shower spigot, with the rope, the kind that comes down.
Yeah.
Sometimes choke them with that, and then drown them out. So the violence that we see here is unreal. This culture's changed. There was a time back in the, in the 80s when we used to think that these guys were targeting the downtrodden, right? Girls that had come from broken homes with drug addictions. We're so far past that. We've seen victims as young as 12 years old. They'd come from a decent family.
In the last 10 years, the police department have seen a worrying increase in the number of juveniles arrested for prostitution. In the first 6 months of 2013, they identified 68 minors working as prostitutes.
We know that many girls that end up in the sex industry come from broken homes or have had problems in the past. But what I find interesting about the situation that exists here is that a lot of these girls are being groomed at high school or even younger than that.
Not only are they young, but surprisingly, girls are being targeted from families that once thought themselves safe from such predators. Andrea Swanson's daughter was groomed by a pimp from the age of 16.
There you are, you're a nurse, your husband's in the 82nd Airborne, then he's in the FBI, our two brothers are both serving their country, you've got another daughter, you are the all-American family, and this is an all-American nightmare, isn't it?
It is. If it could get into our family, it could get into anyone's. Hannah is the youngest.
So she's the baby?
She's the baby. She had some self-esteem issues, always angry.
Yeah, but then again, most teenagers go through that kind
Exactly.
What were the first things that you noticed about Hannah and the fact that she was changing?
The fall of her junior year in high school, she meets this boy. And all of a sudden, she's not angry anymore. We just saw her open up, and we were just delighted. And it all seemed to be because of this new boyfriend.
So then what happened?
All of a sudden, he ends up in prison for stealing cars. And that is where the grooming was happening. While he was in prison, he was grooming her from prison, writing her letters, filling her head with promises, writing me letters, telling me that he cared for my daughter.
So, even after he spent time in prison, your husband's a ranker in the FBI, you still let him back into your house?
Yes, we did. We spoke to his parole officer. I felt a little bit in control of the situation and felt good about it. And that lasted for about 2 or 3 weeks. They followed the rules. They started coming in a little later, didn't know where she was. About 2 or 3 weeks later, Hannah was gone. And she was now 18 years old. Legally, I couldn't make her come home.
Well, when were you first aware that she might be involved in sex trafficking?
About 2 or 3 days before she graduated high school. I came home from work and Hannah happened to be there. And I said, I'm worried about you, Hannah. And she flipped out. She said, okay, I fucking trick rolled. Is that good? She said, you find the drunkest motherfucker on the strip, you proposition him, you take his ass up to the room and tell him to clean up, and you steal him. You steal him blind. You take everything he's got and you run. His wallet, his watch, whatever. I did it, Mom. Get the hell out of here.
And what was her father's reaction to this news?
He said, we need call Vice because that's too close to prostitution. They came over and Detective Boffman had this big 3-inch binder in his hand with her boyfriend's name on it. And I'm like, what is his name doing on the folder? What's going on? They basically said they had enough to build a case against her boyfriend as a pimp. I let him into our house. I let him into my heart into my family, and he was slick enough to fool me too.
What's happened to Hannah isn't a one-off, is it? This is commonplace in this city, isn't it?
Very common. We need tourist money in this town. We definitely do. We just don't need it off the backs of our daughters.
I do think that the casinos, the strip, are also partly responsible for what's happening to these girls, because we've seen people selling sex, advertising sex. Anywhere you go, people are handing out cards with numbers on it and pictures of real girls like Hannah. Violent crime in Las Vegas is higher than the national average. In the first quarter of 2013, the number of homicides in the city increased by 50%. Many of those killings were gang-related. To try to understand this escalation in violence, I attempt to make contact with a gang. Finally, I get the call. Thank you very much for doing this. Appreciate it.
We're on our way to meet a street gang. Now, in the bowl that is Las Vegas, it's estimated that there are some 600 gangs with around 20,000 members. We know these guys sell drugs, we know they're heavily armed, and also one of their associates was killed in a drug and gang-related killing only a matter of days ago.
It's just a lot going on out here in these streets. You know, people think that it's all nice and gravy down on that side where those lights at.
But it is.
Once you come behind those lights,
it is.
It's
It's
not.
the side of Vegas that they just might miss.
It's not what they think it is.
You tell me just how violent this neighborhood is?
Past 4 days, they found 3 people dead. 2 of them shot up in the head multiple times. In the same damn apartments. The same spot where I kick it at.
So you guys are permanently looking over your shoulders, yeah? You got a good chance that you get killed or you get beaten
They
severely.
gonna find you not breathing.
Or
It's
whatever.
just the side of town that you grew up on, man.
It's just a postcode, yeah?
It's just where you at, the area code.
Zip code, yeah?
That's it.
And if you're looking over your shoulder all the time, what kind of life is that, boys? Is that not a life that you want to live?
It's not a life that you want to live, but it choose you. You give it, you're a product to your environment. My mom raised all 5 of us the right way.
Yeah.
But my daddy went to prison, so the streets became my daddy. So it's like when my mama don't see me, I be sneaky. But the sneaky shit that I was doing turned into, now I got problems and
Big
now
serious stuff.
Here it is.
So you've actually spent time in prison?
Yeah.
How long did you serve?
3 years and 3 months.
And what did you do to get that sentence?
I got an attempted murder case. What started as a simple, I wanted a chain, turned into something
So
else.
you were going to places, taking chains off people,
Yeah, taking chains off people, taking
Cell
wallets,
phones.
cell phones off.
Whatever to get us a
But then
quick
it went
buck.
from,
Right, so you taking chains off these guys, and these guys have gone and got guns to come after you, yeah?
yeah, they drew a gun when they did, then I got down.
So you shot someone?
Yeah, I got down.
He did what he had to do. He carried a weapon on him at all times.
Yeah.
You don't see?
Yeah, I see. So, you know, that's a 40 caliber weapon. Yeah. And that could go automatic?
Fully automatic.
So virtually it becomes a hand machine gun.
Ding, ding, ding. No matter what you getting shot at with, when that gun get to going off, it's over with.
And carrying one, really, you'd rather go back to the pen for carrying.
What you rather? You rather have a funeral or you rather go to the penitentiary? That's the only thing that you can look out for now. Because they catch you without it, you get caught not breathing.
Yep. You got kids out here 12 years old carrying the kind of guns that
we carry.
19, 11.
So you're saying you've got like 11 to 12-year-old kids walking around carrying 45 caliber weapon that can put a hole in you this size?
That size.
And a kid no bigger than, littler than him.
Clearly, there is an invisible wall between the West Side and the Strip. And now that those guys have got criminal records, or 2 of them have, there's very little chance of them ever getting out of the life that they've chosen.
Ex-gangbanger Big E is concerned about the new gangs emerging out of the Las Vegas suburbs.
They have no rhyme or reason. They will kill you over a pair of Michael Jordan's tennis shoes. period. Period. But these gentlemen, if taught, if put in school somewhere, if given a push, can be a leader of some conglomerate casino or company, or they can be CEOs. These guys have all the drive in the world, but they don't have any
direction.
Any direction.
He knows only too well where these guys could end up.
I went to prison at 16 for a murder conviction. Second-degree murder. I got life and the possibility of parole in the Department of Corrections. I thought I was shoot 'em up, bang, bang. I thought I was a mercenary. I did what I wanted to do, took what I wanted to take from people, and that cost me to do 17 years in the penitentiary thinking like that. I'm still, to this day, trying to pull my life together.
For over a century, people have come to Las Vegas. Some to live the dream just for the weekend, others to make their fortune.
I think America needs Vegas. You can be yourself. The girl from Iowa is sticking her tits up and her ass out, and she's wearing her little dress. It's accepted here. I mean, we're in the desert. It's 110 degrees, and all 150,000 rooms are sold out. What does that tell you?
But the billions made in this adult playground has a human cost.
And the attitude of Vegas is basically do what you would never do anywhere else and leave. And you don't ever have to think of it again, but my family's been ripped apart.
Last year, corporations made record profits, yet not enough is being done to help those in need.
What's the future for Jazz and Sharon?
Right now, I'm waiting to get into a program, help with Southern Nevada, right? And it's called Straight from the Streets. And I've been waiting about 6 months now.
They said there was an 8-month waiting list, so it should be.
Is that for both of you, or just for you, Jess?
Just for me.
That means you're separated, yeah?
Well, I gotta stop living like this, because one or two things are gonna happen. Either I'm gonna be dead, I'm gonna end up back in prison. It's a lifestyle for me.
And a hard one, a hard routine to break, right?
Yeah, you know, and that troubles me, because I don't know if I can do it, man. I mean, I want to get into this program and I want to do the right thing, but my addiction scares me, bro.
I personally can't see things improving for the poor here until the casinos decide that it should, because ultimately they're the ones that call the shots in this town. We're going for a recession. People need to forget their troubles and have fun, and this is the perfect city to do that in. But if you are planning on coming here and trying to find the Las Vegas dream, please remember one thing. The odds are always stacked in favor of the house.